Waid Harbison here, Chairman of the Cullman County Republican Party. I'm here with Alex Chaney. Alex is one of our candidates running for House District 12. Alex, how are you?
I can't complain at all, Wade. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Well, if you want to just go ahead and start out telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sir. My name is Alex Chaney, and I'm a candidate for the Alabama House of Representatives, District 12. I'm a lifelong Cullman native. I'm actually a fifth-generation Cullman native. A lot of y'all know my family, Kim and Maureen Chaney. Kim's been a district judge here in Cullman County for around 27 years. My mother is a retired educator. She taught at Cullman High for 35 years. My grandparents owned Chaney Seed and Feed over here in Westtown for many years. So I went to Cullman High. I graduated from the University of Alabama. Roll Tide, don't hold it against me, anybody. And then after that, I attended law school. I'm a practicing attorney, and I'm in a law practice downtown.
Sure. So what about your background qualifies you to run for state legislature?
Yes, sir. Well, as I just said, I am an attorney. While in law school, I actually clerked with the Alabama Law Institute, so I actually helped draft legislation for the state. I feel that my legal background and education and experience gives me kind of a leg up and actually helps drafting legislation. Sure. I think that would benefit. I'd like to help benefit the state and benefit this community.
Right.
And like I said, Cullman County is a great place. It's a special, conservative place, and I would really like to put my services, my education, to help the community.
Absolutely. Well, assuming you're elected and you're in your first four-year term, what would be three major priorities you would want to see? We're going to go into some more detail on this, but if you can just kind of, what are three major priorities you want to immediately start working on or start trying to do in the state legislature?
Sure. Well, the state has got many problems, as you'll know, but my three big pet peeves, number one is education.
Sure.
Two is going to be the mental health issue. And three is economic development. I'll start off with number one, education. Children are going to be our future. Cullman County is fortunate to have some of the best schools in the state.
Very true.
I would like to see our schools to keep flourishing. Second, the mental health issue. Cullman County has and that's just not Cullman County, statewide, there's been a mental health issue. People are getting hurt, people are dying. Just today, and I'll get off on a little tangent here, I spoke with Taylor Harden, that's one of our mental health institutions, and I had a client that was ordered to Taylor Harden. It took him 6 months in our county jail so the state could accept him. And that's unacceptable. We have to find something to do with our mental health crisis. Third, economic development. Obviously, we're fortunate to have a lot of new businesses coming into Cullman County and District 12, and I think that's excellent. I think that's an excellent thing, but I do not want to forget about our businesses that are here. I think that we have a lot of businesses that are the backbone of this community. And I understand giving tax-based incentives for other outside businesses to come in, but I want to take care of businesses that are here in Cullman County.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned education is one of your three things, but let's dive a little bit deeper into that. Obviously on a statewide level, we are lucky to have great local schools here, but statewide, our education system is not great, kind of ranked against the other states. Could use some improvement in a lot of areas. What are some things you could see the legislature doing over the next 4 years, assuming you're elected, to kind of remedy that and starting to make some headway and progress in education?
Sure. Like you just said, Cullman County is fortunate to have some of the best schools in the state. But I think there always can be some room for improvement. Cullman County, since I went to Cullman High, has grown exponentially. More people are coming in from out of town. The school has grown. So I don't want us to outstrip our infrastructure.
Sure.
Now, I'm not saying that we need to have a surplus in the education budget, because we got that, and I think we need that.
Right.
But I'm extremely conservative. I don't know if we need $1 billion in the education budget with the other state lacking. So I'd like to get in and see exactly what money's coming in, being placed in the education fund, and see what money goes out before I make a determination. Oh, second of all, we've got to have somebody at the helm with our superintendent to lead the state in the future. We need somebody that stays here, Alabama overall, and takes the reins and leads our children and its educators into the future.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure you've been asked this question before about taxes, and that's kind of one of the things you're going to hear on the campaign trail. A lot of Republicans asking you that, but a lot of new tax proposals are always coming before the state every single year in legislative session. So, how would you vote on those? How would you deal with those proposals as they come about?
As I said before, I'm extremely fiscal conservative. I'm, vice chairman of the local party here. I am not going to be supportive of any new tax growth. I'm not going to force taxes upon the people. Now, if the citizens of my district want to vote on a tax, I think that is their right, and I'm not going to take it from them.
Absolutely.
But any kind of new taxes needs to go to the vote of the people, and they need to determine how the money is taxed, and how it's spent, and where it goes.
Absolutely. Another major issue going on in the state right now is the prison overcrowding. That's been a huge thing. The federal government is threatening to come in and take over the system. I think a little bit's been done in this past legislative session on that. But what do you see helping that problem, solving prison overcrowding, outdated facilities, all kinds of things related to that? Of course, mental health kind of plays into that, like you said.
Sure.
But what would you do to kind of fix the prison overcrowding situation?
Well, let me start off by saying this. My father has a saying, 90% of all criminals that commit crimes are good people.
Sure.
Now, there's 10% that are there to hurt you and hurt your families. Those 10 people need to be locked up and held accountable. And anybody that commits a felony deserves to be held accountable. But the other 90% are nonviolent offenders. There's drug addictions rampant in Alabama and across the nation.
Right.
And in Cullman County, you can see that well over 90% of all crimes committed, there's a drug addiction issue.
Right.
So Cullman County actually is very fortunate to have a great drug court program. They are leading the state in their diversion program, which is diversion program is keeping people here in Cullman County. They're working, but they're in the Department of Corrections.
Sure.
So that does two things. While they're working, going to drug court, they're providing for their families. They're being closely monitored by our diversion officers and our judges, and they're paying for their own treatment.
Sure.
So instead of sending somebody to the Department of Corrections and having us have to foot the bill for them to be locked up, the drug courts and diversion programs make them hold themselves accountable, work, and I think it's a great system. Mental health, also you mentioned mental health. There's a lot of mental health issues in our prison system and in our local jail that we need to implement more mental health courts. I just came back from Madison County this morning. They have a great mental health court program. That needs to go on statewide.
Sure.
Also, a veterans program. We need a veterans court, and that needs to go statewide.
Sure.
So that's lovely. I don't know if that's the answer to the question you asked.
Sure. No, I think that is good. So moving on though, one thing I think the state is doing a really good job of, and you mentioned this earlier, is economic development as far as new industries coming into the state. Unemployment rate is really low. I saw the most recent statistic I think had 2.3% unemployment for Cullman County. So really low in Cullman County, doing a great job. What would you do in the legislature to ensure that that keeps going on, we keep bringing in new industry, and job growth continues in the state?
We are very fortunate in the state of Alabama to have industry come from all over the country, and I think that's great. And I think I would support tax-based, trying to get people in. I would support that,
sure.
Incentives. But again, I'm not going to do that to affect our local businesses. We need to look at our local businesses first and see if we can give them any kind of support we can, because they're the backbone of our community, District 12 and statewide.
Right.
Also, our infrastructure has got to be able to meet the need for the economic development to come in. I-157 over here needs to be 4-lane road to get people in and out, to and from work. I would work to have our infrastructure padded, I guess is a good word, to try to keep the businesses to come in.
Right.
One other issue on that is education. We are fortunate here in Cullman County to have Wallace College.
Absolutely.
Great technical program, and it trains people towards a job. It gives them a way so employers can hire them.
Right.
So I think that is a great two-year college system's excellent to try to just train a workforce.
Right.
So when somebody does come in here, our people can work for them.
Right. Absolutely. Well, anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Waid, I appreciate you having me here, and I appreciate the support of the party, and I just ask for your prayers and your support and your vote June 5th.
Well,
Thanks,
thank
sir.
you. We appreciate you being here. Good luck on the campaign.
Yes, sir. Thank you.